When do you start filming?
It's in the can, bro. Look around you. Did you bump your head?
So there's no additional photography, no overages, hot costs, maybe last minute addition. So
no further questions. Happy Hogan? Fetch the Audi. We're leaving.
It's in the can, bro. 4 words, on stage, in front of 6,000 people, from the man Marvel is building its entire future around. Watch it again and listen to what actually happened there. Because everybody clipped it as a joke and almost nobody read it. The biggest comedy star on the planet walked into Hall H in costume and asked out loud whether there was still room for him in the movie. And the answer was, the movie is finished. Then the follow-up. Maybe last-minute additions? And you can hear it, folks. That's not a punchline, that's a man asking. Tonight, 3 things. 1. Why the biggest star of the streaming era just had to audition in public. 2. The feud rumors, the ones you've seen 20 videos about this month. What's actually published, what Reynolds himself said about them, and which parts are pure invention. And 3. The ledger, what Robert Downey Jr. has that Ryan Reynolds, with all his billions and all his memes, does not. This is a story about power, not about jokes. Let's go.
Just give me one more drink and then I'll leave.
Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Two men, 2 completely different bets on what a movie star is in 2026. Ryan Reynolds built the modern version, and he built it better than anyone alive. Own the internet, own the marketing, own the production company, turn every press cycle into content, every tweet into a campaign, every co-star into a bit. And it worked. Deadpool and Wolverine did roughly $1.3 billion, one of the biggest R-rated films ever made. He is, on paper, the most commercially valuable comedy star on Earth. Robert Downey Jr. bet on something older and slower. He came back from a career most people write off entirely, carried a franchise for a decade, and then, in 2024, he won an Academy Award. Not a viral moment, a statue voted on by the people who hire. And here's the difference that Hall H exposed in 4 words. One of those 2 things is affection, the other is leverage, and they are not the same currency, which nobody in the influencer era wants to hear because the entire modern playbook is built on the assumption that if enough people love you, the industry has to deal with you. It doesn't. And look at how each man arrived in that building, because it tells you everything. Reynolds walked the convention floor in disguise, posed with fans, then crashed the stage in costume. A bit, executed perfectly, generating 1 million views before he left the hall. Downey walked out at the same convention 2 years earlier, pulled back a hood, and the room screamed like something historic was happening. One man performs for the crowd, the other is the announcement. That's not talent, folks. Both men have plenty, that's position. So what did the industry actually do? That's where the rumors start. And this is the part where I'm going to be more careful than the other channels, because most of what you've been told this month simply isn't sourced. Here's the honest state of play, and you will not get this from the 20 other videos about this. In the spring, rumors circulated that Reynolds and Downey were feuding on set. Reynolds shot that down himself. He told reporters he hadn't even set foot on the Doomsday set at that point. So, the set war stories you've been watching, the leaked call sheets, the secret gag orders, the insider who saw everything. Folks, none of that traces to a trade. Not one. It's invented. And the people making it know it's invented. What is on the record is far more interesting anyway. Marvel has never officially confirmed Deadpool for Doomsday. Reports have been conflicting for a year. This week, coverage out of D23 suggests he's locked in as reported. And in between, the man himself had to crash a panel in costume to ask. Sit with that. If you were a headline act with a guaranteed role, would you be asking about last-minute additions on a microphone in Hall H? That's not a feud, folks. A feud implies two people with equal standing. This is something quieter and much more brutal. And to see it, you have to look at what each man is holding. Quick one. If you want the receipts instead of the fan fiction, subscribe. CineWire only prints what it can link. Now, the ledger.
We do have a movie coming out in December. We have a movie coming out this December, and it's called Avengers Doomsday.
Count what Downey brought back with him, an Oscar. The role the entire next phase is engineered around, Doom was teased at the end of Fantastic Four before he'd even shot a scene. Directors who left this franchise saying Endgame was the end of the road and came back for him. And, as reported, $100 million a picture, the biggest actor deal anyone can remember. Now, count Reynolds' side of the ledger, a $1.3 billion hit. The best marketing instincts in the business, a fan base that would follow him anywhere. And, as of the biggest Marvel panel of the year, no confirmed role in the film he was standing on stage asking about. Here's the brutal little truth underneath all of it, folks. Marvel doesn't need Deadpool to make Doomsday work. They need Doom. Deadpool is upside. Doom is the plan. And upside gets asked to wait outside while the plan gets $100 million and its own directors. That is not personal. Nobody has to hate anybody for that to be true, and I suspect that's exactly why it stings. And notice what Marvel is buying with that $100 million, because it isn't acting minutes. They are buying certainty. After a run of films that missed, the studio needed one thing that could not be argued with in a shareholder meeting. A face the entire planet associates with the moment this franchise worked. That's what an Oscar plus a decade of Tony Stark buys you. Not applause, insurance. Nobody insures a punchline. And now the receipt nobody is using, and it's his own. Earlier, Reynolds told Time magazine, quote, "If Deadpool becomes an Avenger or an X-Man, we're at the end. That's wish fulfillment, and you can't give him that. That's not spin, folks. That is genuinely one of the smartest things any franchise star has said about their own character. He understood that Deadpool works because he's outside. The moment he joins the club, the joke dies. And then, the same year, he posts the Avengers logo with a red A spray painted over it and turns up in Hall H asking about last-minute additions. Read those two things together and you get the real story of this video. A man who knows exactly what protects his character and wants in anyway. Because being right about your own art doesn't pay the same as being in the biggest movie of the decade. And the Doomsday train leaves December 18th, whether he's on it or not. That's the pressure nobody talks about when they talk about Ryan Reynolds. He runs a production company. He runs brands. He has deals that need heat, and heat needs the biggest movie in the world. Being the funniest man in the room is a wonderful life, right up until the room votes on who gets a chair at the table. Here's the twist, and it's not a joke at his expense. It's the cost of the model. Ryan Reynolds spent 15 years making himself the most likable man in the industry. The self-deprecating star. The guy who's always in on the bit. The one who will show up in costume and take the hit for the laugh. It made him rich, and it made him beloved. And it also made it impossible for him to walk into a room and simply be taken seriously. Because when your entire public identity is "I'm not above this," you can't suddenly be above anything. Downey did the opposite. He spent his 50s collecting the one thing that cannot be memed: professional respect. And in a business run by people who watch the same awards show every year, respect is convertible currency. Look at what each man received in that hall. Downey got a coronation. Reynolds got a laugh. And a laugh, folks, is what a room gives you when it likes you but isn't afraid of you. We've now watched this exact lesson 3 times on this channel from 3 different directions. The logo that stopped selling, the brand that couldn't fill an arena, the face that couldn't open a movie. End screens. Same law, every time. What people feel about you and what the industry owes you are 2 different accounts. And here's the uncomfortable coda. The model Reynolds perfected is the one every young performer is now told to copy. Build the following. Be the brand. Own the content. He did it better than anyone will ever do it again. And it still could not buy him a confirmed line on a call sheet. If that's where the ceiling is for the best in the world at it, folks, what exactly is everybody else building? So here's the verdict. There's no feud. There's no war on set. That's fan fiction with a thumbnail, and the man himself denied it. What there is, on tape, in front of 6,000 witnesses, is a hierarchy being stated out loud. One man asked, the other man answered, and the room heard exactly where each of them stands. December 18th is the referendum. If Deadpool shows up and steals the movie, Reynolds proves that the internet-era star can force his way into the room after all. And I'd enjoy that. He's earned the right to try. But if he's a 30-second gag in the third act while Doom runs the film, then Hall H wasn't a bit, folks. It was the announcement. And the next time you see somebody tell you that a movie star is finished, or that an Oscar doesn't matter anymore, remember 4 words from a stage in San Diego. It's in the can. That's what power sounds like when it doesn't have to be funny. Subscribe. We'll be counting the receipts in December, and the file on what happened to the last man who thought his brand was bigger than the businesses on screen right now.